Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with a 300 Blackout Tavor, and this is cameraman Jason's rifle. I may have to get one depending on how well the gun performs this afternoon. We'll talk more about its functions and features here in a little bit, but what I also want to show you guys this afternoon are a couple of new products from Q. Q is a silencer. Well, they're more than just a silencer manufacturer. They're also working on some firearms that are really interesting as well. But one of their first products to market were their suppressor line. Here I have in two separate boxes from Silencer Shop, a half Nelson and a full Nelson. Both of these cans are 30 caliber cans, but the half Nelson, you can probably guess by the name, is shorter than the full Nelson, which is the full-size suppressor. The full Nelson, we're not going to talk about too much today. We'll do this suppressor in a future video on a 308 caliber rifle. But this is it. It comes packaged as you see here. You can see that's a pretty good sized can. We'll go into the features of the other one, which is pretty much the same thing. It's just a little bit shorter. But you can see the packaging that they use, which is really interesting. It comes with this silencer wrap. You can kind of take away from it that they're having some fun with wrestling. And yeah, so well packaged, looks good. It has no outer sleeve. All the baffles are welded together to maintain light weight and increase volume of the suppressors. You may say, well, we've seen that done before. Well, that's probably so, because other cans have done that, like the SIG line of suppressors. It just so happens that Kevin Brightenham, who was the founder of AAC Silencers, went to work for SIG and helped them to develop their line of suppressors, which I like quite a bit. They meter very well, very interesting silencers. But then he's ventured off onto his own to start Q. And this Q suppressor is the half Nelson. You can see the spacers in here they put in. So you can take out your half Nelson, your mini 30 caliber can. Both of these are direct thread, 5/8 by 24. And there we go, here's the half Nelson. So we're gonna mount this guy up. We're gonna get some sound data off of it, some meter data off of it, see how well it performs on the Tavor. We'll test it at the muzzle, we'll test it at the shooter's ear. And again, we'll go into the features of the Tavor here in a moment. Again, half Nelson comes with the cool little bag, very colorful, fun stuff. All right, I'm gonna leave the half Nelson out. I'm gonna put away its little belt wrap there. I think they have belt loops on that. Yeah, they have belt loops on it. Looks like you can do MOLLE attachments as well. All right, let's go ahead and close up the box. Kind of an interesting box. I mean, I don't know where they come up with this stuff. Kevin's a very colorful person. He really comes up with some neat ideas. And yeah, anyway, so the half Nelson. The half Nelson is made out of titanium. You can pick them up at Silencer Shop. Right now they're on sale for 800 bucks, but they're doing a cure-all promotion. And the promotion means if you go in and add to your cart, there's add a Q promotion code to your cart with your purchase of this silencer. It will allow you to make payments on or wait until your Form 4 comes back before you have to pay for your silencer. Pretty cool. Silencer wait times right now are, 6-8 months. Those are supposed to be coming down here very soon thanks to the work that Silencer Shop has done with the ATF with barcoding of Form 4s. But until that starts to happen, there's still a little bit of a wait involved, and some people don't want to pay for something up front that they can't use right away. So using the Q promotion through Silencer Shop, be sure you read the promotion details very carefully, follow those, and then you can either make payments on your silencer or pay for it in full once your Form 4 gets approved, and that's pretty cool. All right, so let's get some weight data on this bad boy first. Let's see how many ounces it weighs. This is my handy dandy, not working digital scale, and we'll see how many ounces this bad boy is. 12.2 ounces, 5/8 by 24 thread. All right, and let's move the scale out of the way here. And let's see if we can get some length data on this bad boy. So the nose of this thing sticks out just a little bit further than the edge. So I'm gonna do this, see if I can figure out exactly how tall this thing is. It comes all the way up, so it's right at 7 inches to the very end of the nut. Right at 7 inches, going to the very end of the nut there. All right, so about a 7-inch suppressor. Now what I've noticed with the Tavors, they do this on their 5.56 rifles as well. You'll notice we have a jam nut on here. If we don't do that, you can actually screw this half Nelson onto this can, and you can screw it. It'll go right over the barrel and just keep screwing in until it goes into dead space. The barrel is holding it on, but it's no longer engaged with the threads, and you certainly don't want to shoot the gun that way. The Tavor doesn't have much of a shelf right there, so we've put a jam nut as a stop nut on it so that the can doesn't slide all the way over into up to the blast baffle and just flop around on the end of the barrel. So if you're using this on a Tavor, be very careful that you do use a jam nut or a stop nut in this case so that you don't have that problem. I'm going to thread this on. Hand tighten it. Okay, so the full Nelson and the half Nelson both are direct thread cans. You know, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of direct thread cans, especially on rifles. I've seen them come loose when you're shooting on gas guns and you're shooting quickly, and people have blown the cans right off the end of the gun because once they start to come loose, they can wobble and you can get a baffle strike and the bullet can come right out the side of the can. It's unsafe, and it's a great way to destroy an $800 silencer. So make sure that you snug that thing on there good, because you don't want it backing off on a gas gun. If you're shooting a bolt gun, it's much easier. I actually prefer direct thread cans or taper mount cans on precision rifles because you get the same lockup every single time, and you can always reach up there in between rounds without burning yourself and just make sure that the can's tight. You'll know pretty much right off the bat if the can's not tight, because if it comes even a quarter turn loose, you're going to see your shot dispersion all over the place. You'll go from 1-inch groups to 6-inch groups very quickly. All right, so we have the Q half Nelson all loaded up, or mounted up I should say, to our Tavor and 300 Blackout. Some of the ammunition we're going to use this afternoon is the, here it is, like right next to me. We have some Hush subsonics. These are 220 grain subsonics. We're going to see how quiet they are with that. And then we have some Fiocchi, and these are 150 grain boat tail hollow points, and these are supersonics. And these also come from Freedom Munitions. Freedom makes both the Hush line, and they also sell the Fiocchi line of ammunition. So we're going to try out both of these flavors, get some accuracy ideas, and definitely what we're most concerned with is some sound data. How quiet is this Tavor? This is a relatively new product to the market. I'm very excited to see how it performs, because once again, if this thing does well, I'll probably want one. So let's get started, guys. We're getting the rifle zeroed into the configuration that you see it here. We've not shot this rifle in this configuration before. So we have a primary arms 1-to-6 power optic on here. It's mounted via a Midwest Industries quick detach mount, which is very important when dealing with the 300 Blackout Tavor. That's because right about here is where, and inside the pick rail, is where you make the adjustments to the gas system. You have two settings, one for subsonic and one for supersonic. And so having a quick detach mount that goes back to 0 is very important when using this particular rifle if you jump between the two round types, super and subsonic. Out on the end, of course, we have the Q half Nelson, and we are shooting some Hush 220 grain subs. Now we're only shooting at 60 yards. Keep in mind, guys, a subsonic, and I just went ahead and chambered around there, a subsonic 300 Blackout really has no more energy than, say, a 45 ACP. At subsonic speeds. So you really don't want to be hunting with the subsonics unless you're shooting at things very, very close. So we've zeroed this at 60 yards. That's the closest we would take a shot on any small game or whatever using a 300 Blackout. And if you're going to shoot extended ranges, you're definitely going to want to shoot supersonic. We will get some meter data on this with both subs and supers. So far, we've had very good luck. So we just got done getting it on paper and getting it zeroed, and it's been shooting incredible groups. It shot at 60 yards, a 0.27-inch 3-shot group. And you can see on the paper, the picture I'm showing you now, the first group was just a little bit high and left. We made a couple adjustments to the scope, got it dead center on the target, and that last 3-shot group was really incredible for a 60 yards 300 Blackout. Now in the past, guys, I've not had good luck with 300 Blackouts and accuracy. I've tried them in ARs and things like that. They're very picky about the rounds that they shoot. And very rarely do you see under an inch, at least me, at 60, 70 yards with a 300 Blackout subsonic. Now, I've also noticed that even though they can be super accurate 60 yards, you go back to 100 yards, the subsonic suddenly becomes, you would think it would go, well, from 60, if it's shooting under a ½ inch, at 100 it should shoot at an inch or under. That's not necessarily true. 300 Blackouts play by their own rules. So that's at least my experience. Perhaps some of you guys have had different experiences. But check this little thing out. I'm gonna go ahead and take my ears off. We've not metered it yet, but Jason was watching me through the spotting scope, and I'm just gonna hit the steel plate downrange. It's a little challenge target disc, and we'll show you what the groups look like. I'm just kind of shooting off a hasty rest here. This isn't the most stable shooting platforms. I mean, this thing has almost no recoil. I'm not getting a bunch of gas in my face, shooting at a steady cadence. If I was doing mag dumps, I can kind of smell the gas, but it's not overwhelming me. So it seems to me that the Q suppressor is working really good with a Tavor in that department. You're not going to gas yourself out with a couple of quick shots on a coyote or something like that. Now let's talk about how you make those adjustments to the gas system if you want to go from subsonics, which we were just shooting, to supersonics. With the Midwest Industries mount, you have a little release tab right here in the front. You push that little tab in and then just flip that lever forward. Do that on both sides. And remember the T-slot that you're on. And there's your gas adjustment. You have to stick a little punch down in there, push down on the tab, then you take a flathead and turn it to supersonic. So we have it set for 2, which is subs, turned over to 1, and that should be supers, if I don't have that backwards. So that's why it's important to remember your T-slot, so you go exactly back to where you once were, and everything should still be zeroed. Let me go ahead and put a few more rounds into it and see if this thing remains zeroed. This Hush ammunition I've had really good luck with, and the 220 grain subsonics are ridiculously quiet. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that it sounds perfectly hearing safe at my ear right now, but your ear is a horrible decibel meter. So a lot of folks talk about tone and things like that. I'm tone deaf, so I don't get too much into the tone. My opinion on the tone of a gun would be pointless, simply because I'm legally deaf in my right ear and darn near deaf in my left ear. So tone means nothing to me. I go with the data. The data, if it says it's not hearing safe, I don't care how sweet to my ears it sounds by tone, I'm going to wear hearing protection. So we'll find that out here in a little bit. All right, now I'm going to do 5 more shots on that steel target down there and see if we've held our zero after removing the scope mount from the Tavor. Would appear, and it went right back to 0. So that's pretty cool. Now that time I got a little bit more gas in my face. Tavors are notorious for leaking gas right here. Your gas block is right here on the gun. The chamber is right in this area. And yeah, you'll get a lot of gas bleeding around the edges of this port cover because this is how you switch the gun from left-right-handed use. They're fairly gassy guns unless you use something like an OSS suppressor, which I have on my X95. Then you get 0 gas in your face. All right, very cool. We got this thing zeroed out, at least with the subsonics. Let's do a little bit more shooting with it, and let's get some meter data and find out just how quiet this Q suppressor is when it's married up to the Tavor, shooting both subsonic and supersonic ammunition. I've gotten a lot of questions about the t-shirts I wear in video. Many times they're shirts that I made one-offs of using my cell phone. There's really cool iPhone apps out there where you can make your own t-shirt and buy it and get one. Well, you guys seem to have some interest in some of the shirts that I wear, so I've partnered up with Forged from Freedom, which are these guys here, and they work with a lot of gun tubers to do t-shirts and fulfillment. So if you would like to pick up the shirt that I'm wearing now, 40 Sucks, it's a great shirt, but we have others to choose from. Swing by Forged from Freedom, my Mac store. I have a link in the description below. Pick up your own shirt. It helps us out here at the channel. Okay, we have everything all set up to do our industry standard testing of the Q suppressor, the Half Nelson. We're going to use both the Hush subsonic ammunition, and we're going to use the Fiocchi 150 grain ammunition from Freedom Munitions. Now we have the gun set up 1.6 meters off the ground, and we have the Blackout 2270 meter set up 1 meter left. The meter is freshly calibrated this morning, and she's all ready to go. Now we're going to do 5 shots. We're going to do 5 shots of the subsonics, then 5 shots of the supers to get an average, and then we're going to switch it up. We're going to move the meter over so it's 6 inches off my right ear, and that's what I'm really interested in finding out. This is the industry standard. To me, it's a bunch of bunk. I want to know how loud is it to my ear because I'm buying suppressors to make sure that I preserve what little hearing I have left. All right, so we're gonna load the magazines up and then we'll start our testing. All right, guys, so I have 5 rounds of the 220 grain Hush ammunition. This is subsonic stuff. I'm gonna put it into the Tavor. Go ahead and charge it. And she's on safe. Now I'm gonna go over to the meter here, reset that, get it ready to go. All right, we have 124 decibels, 124.6 decibels on that first reading. $124.7 decibels on the second reading. $125.8 decibels on that third shot. $125.6 decibels. And 125.5 decibels. So, well within hearing safe ranges at the muzzle. Here in a few seconds, actually a few minutes, we'll find out what it meters at the ear. Next up, though, is the supersonic ammunition. Let's see how it meters at the muzzle. All right, next up on deck is the 150 grain Fiocchi supersonic ammunition. I'm gonna go ahead and reset our meter here. And let's go for that first shot. 131.9 decibels. $128.8 decibels. $131.5 decibels. $131.3 decibels. And 130.6 decibels for our last shot. All right, so both supers and subs meter at hearing safe. Now guys, I know I'm not wearing eyes. I don't wear eyes when I'm using magnified optics. I should put them on because I'm not really aiming it much right now. But please don't do as I do. Wear proper eye protection. But anyway, so we're all set up now. Let's go ahead and switch things around and let's take the meter readings from my right ear. Okay, so now we have the B&K meter set up so we can take a meter reading off my right ear. First of all, the reason you see the meter at a slight angle is because it has to clear my arm and shoulder when I'm on the gun, so that's why the meter's at a slight angle, just to clear everything. Secondly, because this is a bullpup and it ejects right here, we may run into an issue with the spent casing hitting the pickup, which will give us erroneous data. And if that starts to happen, we'll have to reshoot this. And right now we have it loaded up with the Fiocchi Supersonics, and I'm gonna have to use my hand as a brass deflector. And I don't know how much that's gonna affect the sound meter readings. It's just kind of a unique position we find ourselves in with trying to meter a bullpup at the right ear. Okay, it probably, there's no way to really get around it. I was gonna say we could do it off the left ear, but that isn't gonna help. Okay, so let's try this and let's see what happens. I'm gonna reset the meter here. And I can just read it. Okay. All right, 138.3. Did that hit?
I didn't see it.
Okay. $138.7. $138.1. Very consistent so far. 138.1 again. And 137 flat. All right, next up on deck will be the subsonics. So far we got lucky without the brass casings hitting the pressure sensor, and we got clean readings off of that. Definitely hearing safe, but right at that threshold, keep in mind guys, 140 decibels is what OSHA tells us for an impact noise is unsafe. Anything above that. This has stayed a couple of decibels just under that safety. So it seems so far, at least with the Fiocchi ammunition, the Tavor with the Q can is hearing safe at the right ear. So there's two reasons why I'm measuring 6 inches off the shooter's right ear. First of all, the military is doing different types of meter testing themselves. For the CSAS program, they wanted the threshold reading taken 6 inches off the shooter's right ear. And so I've adopted that as a standard. And the second reason why I want to do meter data at the ear is because I really want to know how loud it is to my ear, because this ejection port is the loudest part of a gas gun, because we have gas coming back down the barrel because of the suppressor, and it escapes, meets with cool air, and pops right here at the ejection port. So on a gas gun, it's really important to find out just how loud it is, because out at the muzzle, it'll meter hearing safe. You move it back, the decibel readings go up by 10 decibels, which is huge, and now you're over 140 decibels, and you think you're shooting a safe gun and can combo, and you're not. So this is the only one that I really care about, taking that reading off the right ear. All right, I have the gun all set up with 220 grain Hush subsonic ammunition loads. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the meter here. Okay. That seems to be erroneous. Something hit. Something had to hit. There's no way that was 169 decibels.
You hit the handle.
Yep. Okay, guys, so here's what happened. This is what I was afraid of. With the subsonics, the spent case hit the handle and gave us an erroneous reading of 169 decibels. That's not right. So what I'm going to have to do is use my left hand as a brass deflector as I shoot, and hopefully we can get some clean data. I'm going to have to grab one more round of ammunition here, since that one we can't count. And now let's see how good I am at using my left hand as a brass deflector. I'll reset the meter. Okay, 133 flat, and that definitely hit my hand. .134.1 hit my hand again. I'm trying to keep my hand low enough so it doesn't mess with the readings. .132.1. .132.9. And 133.3. So we're well under that 140 decibel threshold, and I don't believe that my hand being right here really affected the readings too much. That seems reasonable, and that kind of jives with other 300 Blackout gas guns I've tested in the past. So with the Q half Nelson suppressor, running subsonics and supersonic ammunition, we're staying below that 140 threshold, or dB threshold, for being hearing safe for the shooter. So that's good news and good to go. I hope you guys enjoyed coming out to the range with us this afternoon doing some shooting with the Q half Nelson 30 caliber direct thread suppressor. We got some pretty impressive meter numbers with it using the 300 Blackout Tavor with both supersonic and subsonic 300 Blackout loads. So the Q is available through Silencer Shop, and yeah, I mean, it meters really well. Now this can is not just rated for 300 Blackout. You can run up to 300 Winchester Magnum through this little can. Now, we haven't metered it on a 300 Win Mag, but yeah, if you're gonna shoot it on that, you might wanna go for the full Nelson, which is the bigger product. We'll talk about the full Nelson in a separate video, and we'll probably put it on a 308, maybe even a 300 Win Mag, we'll see. But this half Nelson on this 300 Blackout Tavor with the primary arms 1:6 optic on the quick detach mount from Midwest Industries wound up being the perfect combination for us. We had a lot of fun with it out here this afternoon, and yeah, it actually worked out really well using this QD mount, which goes back to zero we found out today very easily, because we have to take this mount off to get to the gas adjustment, which is right about there. So just something to think about. If you pick up a 300 Blackout Tavor, be sure when you set it up with an optic that you have a QD mount, because you're going to need it if you cover up that gas adjustment, and it just happens to be in that spot where just about every optic you put on the gun is probably going to cover up that adjustment. That, and the only other thing I can think of that would be negative, but it's not unique to this particular setup or to this rifle or to this suppressor, you get a lot of gas back down the barrel from pretty much any conventional baffle stack type suppressor. It causes quite a bit of back pressure. That gas comes down the barrel and it vents here at the ejection port, but on a bullpup, it's also venting right here, which is a port cover that's used for switching it to left-handed ejection use for left-handed shooters. But when it's not being used to eject out that side, they just put a polymer port cover over it, which is actually quite porous, and gas escapes around it. So when you start doing mag dumps, you're going to gas yourself out pretty darn quick, because you got gas right here coming up the right side of your face, and you have gas here coming up the left side of your face. But if you shoot at a nice slow cadence, target shooting, whatever, or hunting, you're not even going to notice the gas whatsoever. All right, guys, if you're interested in picking up the Q, swing by and check them out over at Silencer Shop. And if you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, the best way to do that in today's demonetization phase of YouTube is to swing by and become a Patreon. At Patreon, we do all sorts of special things for you guys to give you some perks for helping us out, and that includes giveaways, really good prices through Copper Custom, behind-the-scenes information, original blog posts, direct access and communications with me. I answer all emails and PMs, and it's just a great way to support all of your content creators, not just the Military Arms Channel. Seek out and find all those content creators you normally follow on YouTube, Vimeo, wherever, and support them, because they're going through the exact same problem that the Military Arms Channel is and many other YouTube channels are right now. Also, guys, please consider becoming a member of the NRA. We have something of a perfect storm right now. We have the SHARE Act that just got out of committee that is probably going to go to the floor for a vote. We have a friendly White House. We have a friendly House and Senate. And we have new leadership at the NRA. Follow the link down below. That is a special link. That link brings me money, but 100% of that money it brings me goes to a 503 nonprofit organization called Hero Hunt that takes our nation's wounded warriors and first responders out into the field and gets them back into life and doing something fun. I've been in the field with those guys. Awesome folks. I'm going to hunt with them again this upcoming year. So please become an NRA member, get in the fight, and help support Hero Hunt. And also, please swing by and check us out at Copper Custom, guys. That's our online store. If you'd like to find out some great prices and also support the Military Arms Channel, you can do that by shopping at Copper Custom, which is coppercustom.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all those years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon. I know, man. That sun's been messing with us all day long. It's just impossible to shoot video. I wish that stupid thing would just burn out. Ugh.